What's going on, everybody? This is going to be a quick review on the Gerber LMF 2. I'm not sure if they even make this knife anymore, to be honest with you. I got this knife probably in 08, 09 when I was doing my my buying frenzy, I suppose. Entry-level knives. I didn't know a lot. I bought this knife. I read some good reviews about it. I actually saw this knife on a destruction test. A guy named Noss. This was way back in the day. I'm not sure if the guy was ever identified on who he was, but he did destruction tests on a lot of different knives, fixed blades, etc. And this was on there, and it fared pretty well. So I picked one up. I remember buying this at the Cabela's in Rogers, Minnesota. And we'll talk about this. Sheath is very nice. It's super robust. It has a sharpener on here if you ever really wanted to sharpen your knife in the field, or if you ever had to. Never had any problems with this thing coming out. It's actually pretty hard to get it out, to be honest. Good sheath. It's got a bunch of mole attachments on here, belt loop, etc. No complaints, but not a lot to say about it's a sheath. Let's get down to brass tacks here. This knife, this is the Gerber LMF 2. It's a partially serrated blade, and we'll talk about that in a minute and why it sucks. Basically, this knife is your, hey, I'm gonna go camping slash maybe I need a survival knife, but it's not really a survival knife. I wouldn't bet my life on this. I wouldn't. Look at how gross this thing is. I've carried this in the woods, doing some hiking, doing some fishing, doing some mini camping. But again, this was back in the day before I had better quality blades. So it's a rubber handle. It's pretty sticky. My hands, again, you know, I'm 6'3", medium-sized hands for how tall I am. It fits really well. I mean, it's a comfortable grip. It's something that you could hold and do some work with and not really have any problems. But, you know, they had all these goofy things with this knife. I think Gerber at the time, maybe someone could correct me, but they were trying to compete with the United States military and getting this swapped out for troops instead of a K-bar. I'm not sure which knife actually won that battle, but this was one of them on the list, or maybe in particular it was for the Air Force or something to that effect. But nevertheless, it has a bunch of I don't know, features on here that really aren't necessary in the grand scheme of things, such as your flat area for a hammer. You can put it in the sheath and you can hammer things if you really needed to. I guess that's cool, maybe. I don't know. Jeez, this thing's tough to get out. It has these lanyard holes here, so you can put it on the end of a stick and stab things. You know, I'm not a survival expert. I'll never claim to be. But if all I had for a blade was this, or any other knife for that matter, I wouldn't fasten it to the end of a stick to use for throwing and spearing. I would just, I don't know, sharpen the stick. So I'm not sure why that's on here. Again, it's goofy. What that does too is this is not a full tang either. It actually goes down to about here, then it stops. And the reason why is for electrical reasons, so you don't get electrocuted if you cut something or something. I don't remember what it was. Like if your hand's down here touching this metal, it's not actually touching this metal. I think that's kind of goofy, to be honest with you. And it has, you know, your glass breaker slash skull crusher at the bottom. Bang, look at this, ruined my new mat, dude. And one of my biggest gripes about this stupid knife is the serrations. I mean, the serrations make up over half of the cutting portion of the blade. If you look before the belly starts, you know, if you cut this off right here where the belly starts, that's your cutting edge. That's your smooth, flat cutting edge. What is that, like 1.5 inches? I'll measure it for you right now. Yeah, it's about 1.5 inches of cutting area for the flat portion. Overall, this knife is, you know, 10, 11 inches overall. with your, your cutting blade at about 5 inches. But as we all know, like this part of the blade, like, maybe you're cutting or skinning or doing some weird stuff. Okay, sure. The most of your cutting force, the cutting you're going to be doing is down in this area, and you have these stupid serrations on here. I don't know why they did it this way. I've sharpened them down just from my, inexperience, I guess, in sharpening knives. This knife isn't very sharp. I don't really use this knife at all anymore. It just kind of sits in a tub that I have full of other knives. I wouldn't buy this knife again, knowing what I know now. I hope that anyone looking to buy this knife watches this video and says, yeah, I'm not going to buy that stupid thing. But that said, I don't even know if they make the LMF anymore. I know Gerber came out with a bunch of knives similar to this, Bear Grylls, as we all know and love. He came out with some rendition of this blade and sold it under the guise of a survival knife. I have used this knife a lot for a lot of stupid stuff, like cutting off bush and trees and shit in the backyard, and just clearing stuff, doing some batoning with this at some campfires, especially when I first got it. Opening up paint cans. This is all paint right here from when I was doing painting in a room that was in my basement. But it's kind of a fun knife. Hey, it's cool, whatever. They're like $100 and some. I don't even know. I'm gonna leave this here so you guys can just stare at it for a second. And while I'm talking to you, I'm gonna Google real time right now, Gerber LMF 2, and let's even see if this thing's for sale anymore. Gerber, there's one on Amazon, I guess. No, see, they have the Gerber Strong Arm, which is a rendition. Here's the LMF 2. So on $144 right now on Amazon. They have a brown handled one for $124. Yeah, not the best. $144, 19 left in stock. Field tested with American troops, this 10-inch survival knife was designed in partnership with our country's bravest. It's a Mole-compatible knife designed as rugged and versatile, ballistic nylon sheath, originally designed to free an air crew from a downed aircraft. The LMF2 is tough enough to cut through the fuselage of an aircraft. This knife is purposeful break between the tang and the butt cap, providing insulation protection against stray wires and absorbing any shock from hammering. That's what I was telling you about here. Nonsense is what it is. It's a bunch of nonsense, okay? I wouldn't bet my life on this knife. I wouldn't bring it in a situation where I could possibly have to rely on this to live. That would suck. I mean, you'd probably do okay if all you were doing is camping and stuff like that. But for $144, man, the sheath is probably 60% of the reason why it costs so much. I'm not sure what steel this is. Maybe it's 440C. I don't think this thing even talks about what metal it is. Let's just take a look here, see if it gives you an idea on the steel for this blade. It's coated, yes, it's coated, blah, blah, blah. There's just no information on the steel. I have no idea what it is. Maybe it says stainless steel. So it's probably like a 440C at best, a 154 CM. I'm not sure, man. And just for that reason alone, I wouldn't buy this thing. Just because you don't know what the hell kind of steel it is on here. It looks cool. It's Gerber. It's 420 HC stainless. Okay, so it's even worse than I thought. It's even worse than 440. It's just garbage. This thing rolled all the time. The tip, I had to kind of shape this thing. Just from wear and tear and use. Overall, it's just not a good knife. Why is this on my channel? Because you might run into some mall ninja who says, hey, nice knife, bro. What is that? Oh, sweet. Is that the Gerber LMF 2? Rad, bro. I don't know how kids talk these days, but I'm pretty sure it's not like that. All I know is this thing's a pile of junk. There's a lot of crap that comes out of Gerber and these Kershaw marketing to survivalists. They're marketing to Fudds. Man, it's the same with the firearm industry with like High Point. This is the equivalent of like a High Point knife. It's just not good. Don't buy this knife. Whether you think it looks super awesome and you want one, I don't care if there's a guy out there whose life was saved by this knife in the woods. You got lucky. I'm glad you made it home. Good for you. I don't know if there's any military guys carrying this thing. I would like to know if there is. That'd be interesting, and why they would pick such a heavy. Like I had another knife review on the Gerber or the Swamp Rat Ratman Do. This thing is probably just as heavy. It is a thick blade, I will say, but the fact that it's not a full tang, any kind of prying, if the steel could even hold up to that, you're going to have problems here. And that was one of the things that happened at destruction test. While they were batoning with it, it actually just broke the blade in half. Those videos have since been scrubbed from the internet, so I won't be able to link those in the description. But I tell you what I will do, is I will link this in the description below for Amazon or any other sites I can find that have this thing. But ultimately, the Gerber LMF 2 is a failure. It's a bad knife. It's not good in any way. And I'll tell you how they could have changed this. Get rid of this stupid pommel, right? Nobody cares about this. Just continue with the rubber on the bottom, okay? Number one. Number two, make it a full tang, okay? Number three, get rid of these stupid lanyard holes right here, okay? Because all that does is thin out the tang anyway. Number four, and probably the most important, get rid of the serrations. You do all of that, and then you got a decent knife. And to the cherry on top, make this at a D2, perhaps, or even like a S30V, for God's sakes. That steel is cheap these days. Then you turn this knife into a work of art. You'd probably save money on this stupid milling. You'd probably save money on this. You'd save money on this pommel here, and then put that money back into the blade steel. Then we could have a conversation about that knife, if that knife ever existed, and how awesome it is. But this is the Gerber LMF 2. They are still available, unfortunately, online. Don't go buy one. They are not good. Nobody in the knife community is going to look at this knife and say, hey, nice knife, bro. But you never know. That's it for me. Quick video on this one. Thank you. Hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, leave comments below if you think I'm retarded or a genius. See you on the next one.